Hey, let's talk about the villain for a moment in your story, or a villain in stories, period. In every story, there is a villain. In every movie, there is a villain. Think about a time you watched a movie where there was nothing for the main character to overcome, to deal with. It would make a very boring movie. Yes, the person would be like living the good life and not having to deal with anything, and life would be grand and awesome, but it'd be very boring in a sense, right? And our lives are much like movies in a sense. We are the main character, okay? And we have people who have been assigned to be the villains in our story. And the villain is really not a problem because the villain is their own person. They believe what they believe in their behaviors, they have their own mindsets, they believe in betrayal, they believe in getting anything by all costs, they believe in hurting people, they believe in not doing the work. Whatever it is their that is that character, right? But their role in your story, in our story, is to help us overcome certain things, to help us learn something, to help us heal something, to help us grow, to help us get to the next level. That's the point of a villain in any story that you've ever seen in any movie. The main character ends up finding themselves or setting boundaries or standing up or, pushing forward, becoming who they were meant to become, all of the things, right? And it's because they had to have a villain that helped them to see something, because everything is about us. It's all about you internally. And then at the end of most movies, most stories, the villain dies, right? Like the villain usually dies or goes on about their life, and then the main character goes this way, like Devil Wears Prada. Miranda was the biggest villain. She didn't mean any harm. She was just operating in her own space, but she ended up being the villain to the main character, who had to find herself, find her voice, figure out what she wanted, set boundaries, go after her own thing, right? And then they separate at the end, which is typical in a life story. My favorite, of course, is Scar from The Lion King. He does die at the end, so some villains die at the end. But in real life, most people don't die. We grow apart, we separate from them, we recognize them for who they are, we understand them from a different perspective and realize they taught us this. That was great. It was a part of the journey. I can move on. But oftentimes we want to victimize ourselves, or we want to still hold on to the villain in the story, or be mad at the villain. The villain has a very important role in our story. Don't be afraid of the villain, but let go of them.